We're back with another episode about quotes. So, this is our second installation where we discuss some wisdom and some humor. And part of our therapy is to, just try to feel good about life. It's filled with comedy and tragedy. So, it's the 5th of May, 2023, and we thank you for listening. What quotes are you thinking about today?
About today, I don't have any quotes about today, but I have something to say. Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah. When you read that bio, I thought I was gonna say I wanted to really "Good Morning Vietnam." Do you remember there was a movie like this, "Good Morning Vietnam"?
Yeah, that's Robin Williams. Yeah, that's Robin Williams. I love that.
Yeah, we spoke about him a few days ago, and now he came up with a movie star.
Yeah, that was so great. I mean, I remember he had a radio show, and
he did.
Wasn't it based on Joseph Heller's book Catch-22?
Oh yeah, listen, he did the radio show in that movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Catch-22 is another of my favorite, especially the latest one, I guess from 2020. I told you about that, and the book is hilarious. Well, not everybody read it, but.
What was happening in 2020? Because I stopped doing things when the pandemic started. Like I lost track of time and reality. When the pandemic started, yeah, I have not like COVID memory loss. It's just like everything was kind of scrambled in my brain. So, did they redo Catch-22?
Yeah, they made a new TV. They filmed a new TV show Catch-22 because there are a few, I guess. In the 60s,
who was in the one you saw in 2022?
I am too bad at names. Awfully sorry. But I'm good at faces. If I see a person, I remember it. Whenever I meet them next time. But names, you tell me what's your name in 5 minutes, it's gone.
Yeah, I'm that way too. I actually like the right brain stores visually and the left brain stores chronologically, sequentially. And so when I have a classroom and there's 25 students, I can tell you at the end of the day, suppose I taught four sections of 25, I can remember faces. I can run into a student 2 years later and still tell you what row he sat on or where she sat because I have a strong right brain memory. But my left brain's kind of weak. Yeah. How does that make you feel?
Okay, thanks for the introduction. As for the quote, we started with the movie. Do you remember that? There was another one when someone said, "I can see dead people."
I can see dead people? Do I remember what movie?
I can see dead people. Yeah, I guess.
Can or can't?
Sixth Sense? Maybe that was the...
Hang on a second. I can or can't?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Can.
Yes or no? Which is it?
I can, yes. I can see. I see dead people. Let me make it easier for you. I see dead people. Just forget about can, because that might be, I confuse it. So there is this quote, next time stranger talks to you when you're alone, just look at them shocked and whisper, "You can see me?" Isn't that funny?
I like it.
I'll do that.
I like it.
It's like, the guy who saw you making pictures of buildings the other day, the truck driver, or maybe just the truck.
Yeah.
You could have asked him, instead of talking, "No, I don't want to talk to you." You could have asked him, "You can see me?" And he would have been scared, I think.
Well, he was already scared. For people that are just listening for the first time today, I was driving through downtown Dallas, and I was just taking some pictures of buildings and trees and whatnot. And sometimes, I can't pull off to the side of the road, get out, stand and take a picture, get back in the car. But I was just driving through downtown and I saw this really great building. So I grabbed my phone in my left hand. I'm right-handed, but I put it in my left hand and just put it outside of the window and just shot the shot, hit the button without even looking at it too much. And a guy was in a truck next to me. He goes, "What are you doing? You can drop. What are you doing? You can drop your phone." I was doing fine until he actually said that, which kind of startled me. But yeah, that's
and
true.
you tell him to bugger off, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I
No,
said,
but that
I
was
said,
not polite.
no, what I said was, I said, leave me alone. And then I just rolled up the window. I
Well,
just rolled
still,
up
it's
the
not
window.
exactly polite, right? You could have been much more classic.
Excuse me, when someone is like telling me that I'm being strange and that I'm going to drop my phone, like that's my
Yeah,
space.
you
That's
could
my,
have answered in French to him, something like a poem in French, that both of you would part friends. Like, do you remember that the what's the name in Gandhi? Gandhi said that British must go, but British must leave, but they must leave as friends. I always keep that in mind when someone's
oh, that's
confronting you, or
interesting.
just because I don't want to talk to anybody. I always keep Gandhi in mind and his quote that British must leave, but they must leave as friends.
No, it's
Anyway, your
interesting to
quote.
me. No, I was going to say that I do like some quotes about Gandhi. I had read a little bit more about his march to the sea, and it had to do with some protests about salt and the way the salt miners were being treated. And it was like the march to the sea. And I just sometimes when I'm putting salt on something, I think of Gandhi. I'm not joking. I mean, actually, Gandhi is quite the person. I have another quote that I'd like to mention. This is, well, I call myself a Zen Catholic, but I'm also into Confucian philosophy. Confucius is 551 BC to 479 BC, and he has some really great quotes. I have two that I wanted to share. Here's the first one. Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated.
Well, there is a wisdom in it, right?
Yeah, how do you interpret that one?
Eternal wisdom. Well. Personally, when I hear something is simple, it kind of puts me on guard because there is nothing simple. Or maybe that's because it's exactly I am who makes it complicated, as the quote goes.
Yeah, like you just try to go into the store and get some pistachios and peanuts, and you almost have a nervous breakdown, and they're just talking to the sales clerk or like.
Exactly. Or the other day you told me how you tried to buy some socks, and you've been given such a huge choice that I don't know if you eventually bought it.
No, it was so frightening. I just went in with my friend, and she's a mountain climber and a rock climber, and she's got a hummingbird, metabolism. She's a vegetarian, and I eat meat and take naps and drink bourbon and eat ice cream. So I'm a different kind of creature. But I just went in to buy some socks, and the guy goes, "Well, what are you planning to do with them?"
Exactly.
Gonna put them on
none of his business.
Yeah, it's like, the thing is they had socks for climbing and for hiking and water resistant and water repellent and made from bamboo shoots and made from recycled. I mean, I just want 100% cotton or 100% wool. And then he continued to ask me, what are you planning on doing with these socks? Because he wanted to know, was I a climber? Was I a hiker? Did I go to a rock gym? And he was being completely honest, and I just started sweating, just getting nervous. I just told my friend Mary, I'm going to go to the bathroom and wash my face. I just wandered over to the restroom area and just went in there. I just had a little anxiety attack. And anxiety attack just means I just felt nervous. I thought, just wash my hands and splash some water on my face, just try to avoid that guy. But the second quote by Confucius is this one, and I really like this one. As is the family, so goes society.
Say that again.
As is the family, so goes society.
So they mean that the family is most important part of society, the nuclear
yes. So
component of it.
The micro world, the family, is a a picture to what's going on in society. And a lot of people did not like, a lot of, Westerners, a lot of Americans don't like the prescribed roles. For example, there is a prescribed role of wife to husband. There's a prescribed way children to parents should act. There's a prescribed role for how to entertain guests. And it is based on the idea of order in the cosmos, and that there is order in the cosmos. And when we are out of order, we are disordered, dysfunctional. And so I really like the philosophy of Confucius. And I would just say that, from personal experience, having a family and keeping a family together, and, it's quite a challenge. And there's all kinds of books about families. I mean, all kinds of stories about families. John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath, Tolstoy, Chekhov, Proust, everyone's writing about relationships in the family. And
oh, yeah.
There's,
Okay, I've read this book once. I liked it very much at the time. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. I guess it went like that. So I like that anyway, about 10 or 15 years ago, maybe more. And but then I understood, that men are from Earth and women are from Earth, and I have to deal with it. There is no Mars or Venus for me. And I've told so many things to my wife in my life. And then I understood that some things are better left unsaid. Unfortunately, I often realize this after I have said them. So that's welcome to my world.
No, I agree that I agree with that. I remember when that books, and then there were not podcasts, but people were making little talks, and book clubs were discussing it. And I just remember, I think I was in some kind of a book club, and I had this one friend who was a very literal thinker and very biblically based. And I remember she was saying that, that this was against Scripture, that God had made Adam in the Garden of Eden, and then Adam took a nap, and he took a rib out of, Adam, and he made the woman. And then there was a snake in the garden and an apple. And this was a person who had a very literal understanding of the Bible. So when we were talking about this book, ladies get together for 3 weeks, on a Tuesday afternoon, and we have, tea and cookies and chit chat. When we started talking about men are from Mars, women are from Venus, some people would call that New Age heresicism, like that this is some kind of New Age nonsense messing with our minds, and that we really shouldn't be looking into the heavens, that we should just be looking at the good book. And it was interesting for me to be in that book club. These were all educated women, and I'm an educated woman. And then I just started talking about, the archetype of the moon, and Mars is the god of war. And then people started talking about arguments with their husbands. So that's where we all came together as women, talking about arguments we had with our husband, or why we got a divorce. So that was pretty good. That was a pretty good book. I know that one of you. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go.
I'm thinking about our podcast, because sometimes you try and you fail every time. But there's this quote that if you try to fail and succeed, which one have you done? And I thought, with podcast it's a little bit easier. We had a few breaks, but then somehow it all been brought back again. It's getting brought back again.
Yeah, we're kind of rolling along, and
it's like we are trying to fail and we succeed. I don't know how to explain that.
I know that in the past, when we first started Petroma Therapy, a couple of years ago, we were like studying and reading up on the episodes. We were learning about Descartes. We were like studying, metaphysical philosophy. We were preparing for the episode. We were taking notes. We were finally recording. Then we had to figure out a cover shot. It was kind kind of labor intensive. Like we liked it, we're talking like one of the first episodes is like where good and evil come from and like mind body dualism. And then we decided we should lighten it up and talk about cookies. But I'm saying these were very studied episodes. And now, a couple of years later, it's like, well, what should we talk about? You go, I don't know, anything. We made an episode on anything. I go, why don't we make an episode about something? Like, oh, that's brilliant. And somehow you've done some of the artwork and I've done some of the photography, and then having the hashtags kind of helps us stay a little bit on track. But it's like, we're really trying less, getting farther.
Yeah, it's like we have found the Tao.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, listen, another quote interesting about succeeding. If at first you do not succeed, then skydiving definitely isn't for you. Isn't it funny? Because skydiving, like if you don't succeed at first, it's over. The skydiving mountain.
The original quote is, if at first you don't succeed, try again. That's the classic quote that everybody knows. Oh. But the one about skydiving I really like, and probably you don't remember because, you have like an impaired memory. You either have a very good memory and there's also some holes where everything fell out. But we wrote a poem called Skydiving. Do you remember that?
No, probably the hole is too large to remember.
No, I'm saying when we first met, we talked about art, we talked about writing, we talked about literature, and we actually wrote a poem called Skydiving.
I do not remember that.
Thanks.
Was that me and you who wrote that poem?
So that's what I'm talking about. When I said you and I wrote a poem, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Okay, well, anyhow, moving right along. This is another Mark Twain quote. We both of us like Mark Twain.
I love Mark Twain.
And some of our listeners like Mark Twain, too. Also, we like Mark Stevens, Train Man. But Mark Twain's quote goes like this. All you need in this life is ignorance and confidence. And then success is sure.
I have to process that.
You're protesting it?
Process. I'm trying to process what you've just said.
Okay, so Twain was an American writer, 1835 to 1910, wrote The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer, lots of little stories. But he says, all you need in this life is ignorance and confidence.
Yeah, that means probably that the most successful people in our society are stupids, right? But super confident stupids.
No, that's wrong.
No?
Well, what I mean is, if you're ignorant about something, but you're confident that you could try to figure it out, like, Ben Franklin and electricity, or what's his name, Morse and the Morse code, or whoever invented the submarine or the man on the moon, all that stuff. They had a general ignorance about something, but the confidence to want to figure it out. And as long as you have drive and confidence, you might be successful.
Yeah, I was wrong. And I'm happy that I was wrong.
No, you're not wrong. You're just different.
Yeah.
No,
that's my point. Exactly.
No. What were you saying? What was your angle on it? That if you're kind of dumb about stuff, you will figure things out. You'll finally figure things out, like Forrest Gump. You mean what did you mean?
I love that movie.
What did you love about it? What did you like about
Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
I didn't understand much, but it cheered me up enormously. I've seen it. I've watched it, like Fight Club, two of my favorite movies of all time. Fight Club and Forrest Gump, or Forrest Gump. I don't know which one is better, but I love them both. The Vietnam scene and everything is an art piece.
Yeah, and there's something that resonates in those movies. I had not seen Fight Club, and I have a friend that lives here in Dallas, Alex, and he was looking at me. He goes, "There's this movie you need to see." I go, "What movie?" He was like, "Well, like your favorite movies are like Mulan by Walt Disney and The Little Mermaid." He goes, "You need to get with reality." I go, what do you mean get with reality? He goes, watch this. So he just opened up his phone to that exact episode where they're in the car, they're driving fast, and, you know, Brad Pitt says, you know, tell me something you want to do before you die. And one guy says, I want to paint a portrait of myself. Another one goes like, I forget what he says. He says something else. And then he tells the guy in the passenger seat, tell me, otherwise I'm going to like crash this car. And it's just about like living with purpose and intention. And, you know, how did I feel after I saw that? It's like, wow, I just like Mulan because she was like a woman who was a fighter and took her father's place in this war. And there's this great animation scene of all these warriors coming down off the hill. But it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, all these movies that we love, they're all about fighting ourselves. I don't know, fighting others. There's always a conflict in it. I give up. I give up. I stopped fighting my inner demons. Yeah. We're on the same side now.
Of the war?
Practically became a demon.
Well, you know, there's a book by Hermann Hesse, and it's called Narcissus and Goldmund. And then there's another one called Siddhartha. So Hermann Hesse also has a book called Damien. And the word Damien is linguistically related to demon. And so your demons are actually the dark side of you, the darker aspects of you that you just can't accept.
Mm. Yeah, well, they say that you have to invite demon, right?
Invite them?
Yeah, he cannot just come into you unless you have invited.
Well, I don't mean like demonic possession. For example, let's suppose that you like to eat. Well, one of the deadly sins is gluttony, which would be overeating. Or let's suppose another one of the deadly sins is adultery, or you know, whatever the deadly sins are, or lust. You know, it's not a sin until you commit the action, but the desire to eat, like, you know, just eating nice food is good, or like eating a piece of cake is good. But I think you admitted a couple episodes ago that you ate too much cake and you could not stop yourself.
Oh yeah, that wasn't gluttony exactly. I just happened to like it very much.
But what I mean is that's not demonic possession.
I hope not.
You were possessed by the cake demon.
Otherwise, I would have needed an exorcist.
Yes, right? You would. Well, you know, we had also talked about possibly doing some episodes on cooking, because some of our subscribers love to cook. I know that Tony Carnes is quite a good cook, and he does a lot of really wonderful dishes, and I love to cook, and everybody loves to eat. I mean, I know that Mark Stevens likes popcorn, and he can cook Pop-Tarts, and he can also cook a pizza. But there is a quote by Julia Childs. She's an American chef. She was actually born on August the 15th and died on August the 13th. But the years of her life, 1912 to 2004. So she lived quite a long life. And this is one of her quotes. So she's had cooking shows and cookbooks, and this is her quote. Find something you're passionate about and keep tremendously interested in it. That makes me hungry. I want to make French toast. I want waffles. I want pancakes. I want syrup. I want cream cheese. What are you in the mood to eat?
I was gonna say that I am vegetarian, but I'm not.
You know, I admire vegetarians. You know,
yeah, that's why I was gonna say it.
Yeah, but you're not a vegetarian.
I'm not.
Well, you know, there is something that you told me about that I had never really heard of. I've heard of herring, pickled herring and sour cream, but you told me there was a dish that you had eaten at a restaurant once that was called, I don't know, it's like fish with cabbage and like jelly. It's called the Fur World or something. It's like one of your favorite things to eat around the holidays. What's it called? The Fur World?
Oh, the salad, you mean?
Yeah, what is it called?
I don't know how to translate that fish into English.
Well, just
I
tell me
mean,
what's in it. What's in the dish? Just describe how would you make it.
oh, I'm not that good in food to explain it to you. I mean, I can look it up or Google it later, but now that's too complicated. But we can make our
Okay.
own food show. Look at the bright side.
Yeah, I think we can. I've got another quote by an author that I like very much, Henry David Thoreau. But I'm going to pause and have a drink of water and let you tell us a quote, and then I'm going to tell you about Thoreau. Wow, that water tasted great. You still there?
Is it sparkling? is, is it sparkling?
No, it's just water with ice cube. But it's in a little French glass that I got, and I love these glasses. They have like little dots around the edges. It's like textured glass.
It's just
Well,
that no, when we talked about food, I remember that the unpleasant experience. I tried to cook sushi, right? And there was a cook from Japan, very famous and good, and I messed up a few things, and he was like disappointed. He said, like, you dishonored the rice. And I thought, how could I do that, such a thing? I didn't mean to, but I understood why he was great, because he paid attention to such an supernatural details, like
no,
that
I'm a
someone
big
can
fan.
actually
No.
dishonor the rice.
I know a lot about rice, and like you
Never
I,
dishonor it. Yeah, I
no,
bet
no. I
you
mean,
didn't know that it could be dishonored.
well, one of the ways to make rice is you soak it and you take off the the it just like the outer part soaks off, and then you can also fry it in like olive oil a little bit. Like the idea of rice is that the grains should not stick together unless you're making sticky rice or you're making like rice pudding. But like,
Yeah,
well,
I cook everything with wine nowadays. Sometimes
with wine.
wine, yeah.
Wine.
I cook everything with wine. I just add it to the food, and that's how I cook.
Well, beef bourguignon has a shot of wine in it, and
Don't be shy. Just put some more.
put some more. Well,
Yeah,
there
the
was a
more the better.
restaurant. There's a restaurant here that closed down right before the pandemic. I thought it was sort of suspicious that right before the pandemic, when all the restaurants were going to go out of business, that this restaurant that everybody loves is called Barbex. They had these beer-based biscuits. I loved these biscuits. It's like a family diner that's close to the lake. And somehow this restaurant accidentally burned down at 2 a.m, which means no one was there and they could collect insurance money. But let's not say that I'm accusing anyone of arson. I just want to talk about beer batter biscuits. I love biscuits. So I'd like to go ahead. I'm going to tell you about the second quote by Thoreau. Sure. So he was a naturalist. He was a writer. He wrote Walden Pond. He was friends with Ralph Waldo Emerson, American writer. Thoreau said, "It's not enough to be busy, so are the ants. The question is, what are we being busy about?" So the ants, if we go outside and sit under a tree, we see some ants crawling around at a picnic, or we see some ants going on a tree. We look at them and we see like they're going in little rows. They're going up and down the hills. They're carrying little pieces of dirt. They're doing all this stuff. So Thoreau says, well, it's not enough to be busy. The ants are busy. We need to ask ourselves, what are we busy about? What are we being busy about?
Yeah, I dig that. I dig that. Yeah, I feel stupid next to you, but I understand.
Why? Why
do you want to? No, just serious quotes. I mean, and I'm doing funny things. like
It's okay to be funny.
like somebody stupid. Hey,
No,
look what I found. Would you
What?
like to hear
Laugh?
another funny quote? Yeah.
Sure.
We are all here on Earth to help others. We're all here on Earth to help others. What on earth the others are here for? I don't know. Isn't that funny? We're here to help others, but what on earth the others are here for? I don't know.
No, that's a good one. That is really a good one. No, it's good to laugh. It's really good to laugh, and everybody's working or not working or saving money or losing money or playing the stock market or playing the horses. Like this weekend is the Kentucky Derby, and it's just like a huge event, and it's also like Cinco de Mayo. Everyone will be out drinking and partying, and people will be gambling, and all this stuff that's going on. We have high hopes to win. We want to win, money. We want to win prizes. We want to win, but sometimes you got to lose.
It's strange how we define success. Usually we define it as money and career. I don't know what else, but definitely when you die, I don't think anybody's dying and thinking, I'm so unhappy that I didn't buy another Mercedes, for instance, right? But that's how we define success with all kinds of Mercedes, like toys.
Material possessions. And there was a film that I liked. I'm just thinking of it now. Dustin Hoffman was in it, who was also in The Graduate, which is another classic film, but let's not go there yet. But, I do want to go there, but in a minute. So Dustin Hoffman is in this movie called Little Big Man. And he is learning some wisdom. And one of the famous quotes from that movie, Little Big Man, is he's sitting and talking with an Indian chief, and he learns that today is a good day to die. Wow. And what that means is that if your life is in order, your relationships are in order, your family is in order, your surroundings are in order, that's the challenge of living, is to live meaningfully each day. And if you could say with a smile on your face, like the Buddha, the smile, or the Mona Lisa, today's a good day to die, doesn't mean you want to die, but should it happen?
I understand. That is deep. I honestly admire Native Americans' wisdom, like the Confucius, quotes from Confucius. You've read at the beginning. But luckily, life always, if it's not a good day to die because something is out of order with your life always offers you a second chance. It's called tomorrow. Don't you agree?
It is tomorrow.